Ready? All right, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, February 15th, 2024, 6 o'clock. Gotta let those people come in and settle down first.
Could you enable your mic, please?
Okay, here we go.
Darlene
So
Wood?
again, starting over, Thursday, February 15th, 2024, 6 o'clock p.m., Auburn Town Hall, 104 Central Street. My name is Robert Tatro. I am the chair. I am calling the meeting to order. If anyone has any electronic devices, please feel free to keep those quiet. Before I begin, is anybody recording the meeting this evening? Okay, there is no restrictions on recording. You just have to identify yourself if you are. Thank you very much for that. All right, so I have a brief script I have to read, and I don't really, do I have one with me? I
Cannot
don't,
hear
but I
the
know what it has to
speaker.
say. So, my name is Robert Tatro. I'm the chair of the Auburn Zoning
What
Board.
speaker?
Hello?
Whoever's speaking, we can't hear you.
The chair.
Chairman.
Okay, so you can't hear me right now? Okay. Can anybody hear me? All right.
Can you hear me now?
So I'm just
I can hear
opening
you.
the meeting now. Hold on,
I
folks,
can hear you,
please.
but I cannot hear the man in the white shirt at the meeting speaking. His microphone is off.
This is always fun. Getting the first couple of minutes squared away here has always been entertaining since COVID. Okay, folks, so if you're calling in and you're waiting for your hearing to be called, I'm just going through the preliminary openers that I am required to do by the state and the town at this point. I haven't started a roll call or anything like that yet, or opening any meetings. I'm just going through the formalities. So if you can just bear with me for a minute, I'll try to get through these as quickly as possible, and then we'll move forward with identifying who is here and who isn't. Okay, so again, from the top, my name is Robert Tatro. I am the chair of the Auburn Zoning Board. I am calling this meeting to order. It is Thursday, February 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. We have a few public hearings to get to this evening, so I'm going to try to move on as quickly as possible. We are following the COVID regulations as prescribed by the governor of, I believe it is the Act of 2022 under COVID regulations, which means we have a hybrid meeting. They can call in via the internet as well. So if you're not interested and you want to join us by phone, you can do so at 1-646-749-3112, and you can enter the access code 944-571-349. Or you can go online, and you can go on to gotomeeting.com, and when you log on to that website, in the upper right corner, a box will appear, and you can put in 944-571-349, and that will allow you to join us live on the television. Also, this will be recorded by the ACT Cable Television and rerun on the YouTube channel for the town. Okay, so hopefully I didn't miss anything, and do I have a motion to open the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, just before we do, as administrative matter, when you went through your script, do you need to call roll call for us?
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. So let's find out who's here. Vice Chair Maron.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Cussy.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reznikov.
Bush, I believe.
But I don't think he can see you.
calling in. Is that correct?
I was hoping that someone who was controlling the Zoom could see me.
Okay, so we have Megan Roach.
Yeah, that would be great.
We have myself.
Yeah. That's never, that doesn't even let you turn that on.
I don't know how to send a message in this system.
I think they may be aware of it, but they're
I know.
not able to resolve it.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go back onto mute.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Isn't that the old
Yes.
thing? All right, beautiful. All right, beautiful. All right, we're gonna start this one more time. Please excuse our technical difficulties
They can
here.
hear him now.
All right.
He just unmuted.
So we're okay. Thursday, February 15, 2024, 6 o'clock p.m. meeting of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Robert Tatro. I'm the chair. I'm calling this meeting to order. If you have any electronic devices, please bring them down to a silent or vibration mode. We are following the COVID Act of 2022 regulations as set forth by the governor. So we have a hybrid meeting that people can call in as well. So if you want to join by phone, you can can do so at 1-646-749-3112, and you can enter the access code 944-571-349. Or you can log onto your computer, you can go to GoToMeeting, and in the upper right corner, there'll be a box that appears, and you can enter in 944-571-349. This will also be recorded and replayed on the ACT TV YouTube channel. Allow me to do my roll call, again from the top, Vice Chair Maron, Mr. Cussy, Ms. Roach, myself, Robert Tatro, I am the chair. I see Ms. Bush has called in this evening. Are you with us, Ms. Bush?
I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you and welcome. Mr. Garabedian, are you present with us by phone this evening? One last call for Mr. Garabedian. Hearing none, seeing none? Okay, that's all set. So we have a full quorum this evening. We can continue with all the hearings as normal. We do not require a supermajority. So again, this first hearing was opened last month. And it was continued because the applicant was not available. So our 6 o'clock PM hearing, applicant Darlene Wood Belcito requesting a special permit under section 9.3.12 and section 9.3.12.3 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for an accessory apartment located at 16 Silver Street, map 9, parcel 27. Again, continued from 1/18/24. Is the applicant with us this evening?
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much, Ms. Belcito. I'm going to turn over this meeting has been open since last month, so I'm going to turn it right over to you, and you can discuss what you'd like to do. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I apologize for last month. I came home from work. I was sick of the dog. Figured I'd lay down for a few hours before the meeting and woke up feeling better, but by then it was 8:30 at night, so I can only apologize. What I actually was hoping for is I resubmitted plans than what I submitted last month based on the size of the accessory apartment that I was hoping for. Is it possible I can continue this to next month? I just wanted the architect of plans together for me. I honestly can't say that I'm 100% happy with it, and I was kind of hoping I could have a little more time to go through that and look at it and consider what my options are, if that's allowed.
Okay. I think I'll just turn it right over to Vice Chair Maron. Sir, to you. We have a request for a continuance.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any concerns in requesting, and certainly the first is an illness. But I would caution, I'd like to see this come to a hearing and a resolution during next meeting.
Okay.
But I have no problem continuing one more time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cussy?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. So I have a first and a second. Ms. Roach, how do you vote? You're great, okay. Ms. Bush, how do you vote, ma'am?
Approve.
Okay, and I vote to approve, so the hearing for 6 o'clock PM, applicant Darlene Wood Belcito, special permit under section 9312, 9312-3, that started on 1/18/24, will continue to be open until the March meeting. So we will see you next month, Ms. Belcito.
Super. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your considerations.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, too.
6:05 PM, applicant Paul Antoni requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation located at 8 Mount View Ave, map 41, parcel 24. Is the applicant present? Could you approach the lectern here, sir? Introduce yourself and explain to the board what you'd like to do. Do we have abutters here that are interested in this hearing that would like to speak before I go any further?
Mr. Chairman,
One, two, yes.
I'm sorry. Continue your counting.
That's okay. No, because we have to open it.
I was going to make a motion to open.
I am going to do that as well. Thank you, but I just want to I was trying to get ahead of the. So we do have a couple people that want to speak. So we have a motion to open the hearing.
Make a motion to open hearing.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Roach, thank you. Ms. Bush?
Approve.
Thank you. And I vote to approve. Go ahead, have a seat, sir. If you could just go ahead, I usually just turn it over to the board. We facilitate what they'd like to find out, and then we can hear from the abutters. So, Mr. Maron, to you, sir?
Did we want to, if I may?
I'm sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine,
did the motion.
but you did, but if you want to give the applicant an opportunity to explain what he's proposing.
Yeah, that's what I just said. We're going to turn it over to you. You can take it over from there.
Oh, very good.
Go ahead. So, yeah, go ahead. We can go explain to the board.
How you doing? My name's Paul Antonian. I'm here tonight to hopefully continue small engine repair at the 8 Mount-View Ave location. Small engines have been around since the mid-'80s, taught at Auburn High School. And back in the days, you didn't need a license, or your dog didn't need a license back then. But now that times have changed, in order to move forward and be compliant with today's, different applications and stuff. That's why I'm here. As far as like repairing them or fuel or anything, what I have at the location is what anyone else would have at their home, a single fuel can that I've used for years. There wouldn't be any additional, parking spots, lights added to the house, a sign. I've been helping the people in the town for 35 years with small engines. Most repairs are done on site. But the certain diagnostics, and stuff that be easier done at my home or safer,
I'm just gonna go ahead. If you're all set, I'm just gonna go ahead, Mr. Maron, to you,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Chairman. Thanks for being here, sir. Just a couple of questions. Do you, small business out of your home, you don't plan any signage?
It's not necessary because over the years I've had over 8,000 customers doing this for nearly 40 years. It's all word of mouth.
What do you anticipate the hours of operation will be?
If we had like an ice storm in the past where generators and stuff are needed, I work throughout the night, not at my home, but I go to people's houses where the generators are and get them running and stuff like that. But it would just be normal hours, what anyone else, 7 in the morning, no later than 6, 7 at night.
I did have an opportunity to take a look at the property. I think you have a garage in the back, so I imagine that's where you conduct most of the work.
Yes, it's detached from the house.
And just a quick question on, as far as customers, would they be coming to your home for the work to be done?
Since COVID's been around, no one has been to my home. I've had like an Auburn police officer, which is a friend, and helped him with his mower and stuff, but I prefer not to have, just random people coming by.
And last question for me, for this one, Mr. Chairman, is, as far as waste oil and those kinds of things, because I imagine oil changes are part of the work that you can do.
Yeah, over the years, I mean, single milk cartons could change the oil 3, 4 lawnmowers, so there isn't really much oil. And with today's, mowers out there, most are electric. And I'm finding many of the gas-powered ones, they just add oil, you don't have to change it. So there is no waste.
But when you do make those changes, where does that waste oil go?
Back to where it's purchased, AutoZone, but even Walmart, any store that sells it legally has to take it back.
All right, Mr. Adams, I'll reserve, but I don't have any additional questions.
Mr. Cussy, to you, sir.
So what do? You go out and pick up the equipment and bring it to your house? Like if somebody needs their snowblower?
Yeah, well, if it was a riding lawnmower and didn't start or something, it would be easier to fix it on site than to push a dead cow, so to speak, throughout their yard. And, I've been doing it for many years.
The majority of your work is off-site.
Yeah, it's done at the homes. I mean, there's times where, something may have to get ordered or,
I'm good. I want to hear from the abutters.
Okay. Ms. Roast, you, ma'am?
No, I've been educated on what a small engine is, so it's good, it's good. No, I think maybe just a little expanding on Ms. Sikoski's question. So if the work is being done at your house, are you picking up them and bringing them back, or if
Yeah.
customers are dropping them off?
No, I would not have people bring anything to the home.
You pick it up.
Yeah, it's much easier that way, and, you know, keeps neighbors' dogs from barking, random people, so. There's actually, you know, many home deliveries of food and stuff, and, you know, versus what I would have delivered to the home would be minimal, you know.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. Ms. Bush?
I don't have anything at this time. I just do want to hear from the abutters.
Okay. That sounds good. I'm gonna reserve my questions as well until the abutter speaks, so, if we have any abutters present who would like to speak on this matter, if you'd like to approach the lectern and introduce yourself, give us your name and address, and your comments, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Wayne Bellick, 5 Marion Ave. I've known Paul some 25 plus years. I was introduced to him from my brother-in-law, retired, now a retired Worcester detective. And he's by no means is he handy. I take pride in the fact that I'm pretty handy with you know equipment, anything around the house I can handle. So he told me about 25 years ago, you got to check out this guy. He said you got to see what he's capable of doing. So he said he came up with this design of a lawnmower. I'm only telling you this just so you know the type of individual you're dealing with here. But he had a lawnmower that was remote control that he created. Blew me away. I went there. I said, okay, what can you do? He says, I can do anything. So he had done some minor things on some pieces of equipment, power equipment that I couldn't get to start, and they just fired right up. As he said, he will come to my house. The only time I'll go to his house is let's say if I have a leaf blower or a weed whacker, rather than have him take his truck, pick it up. I'll run it over. But what I have found with Paul is that he's very particular, not quite the soup Nazi on Seinfeld, but he's very particular about, if you come over, just drop it off and go. I don't want people lingering. He's very well kept. He made it clear to us, my wife and I, a long time ago, that he doesn't do oil changes. So if we wanted something done, there are no oil changes. He's been great. I own a business. I do appreciate comments about my firm that where respect, they respect and trust us. Those are words that I don't take lightly. Okay. I can honestly say this man I respect and trust. I don't say that about many people. Those people in the room that know me, I usually say the opposite. And like I said, Paul's done a great job. He's very pleasant, well kept. And like I said, he's pretty particular. So I just wanted to basically say that. I present projects on behalf of my clients to various boards. And so I'm familiar with, from town to town, the criteria for approving something such as a special permit varies from one community to the other. I took a look at your zoning bylaw, and based on the information, if I were sitting on the board, I think the criteria that needs to be met for approval, I respectfully would submit that I believe that criteria is met. And I would ask that the board, as you're deliberating and looking to make a decision tonight, that you vote in favor of granting the special permit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Next man, please, the same. Just want to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
I'm Linda Luce. I live at 10 Mountain View. And the Antonians have been neighbors for well over 50 years, and we have never had a problem. I would not object in any way if this appeal is answered.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Whoever is next, please. Again, introduce yourself, name and address, and your comments.
Ashley Sear, 14 Jefferson Drive. I've been there for 5 years. We knew him through a family friend before he moved in. He came up and actually helped us with a lawnmower repair before. I work from home and I have 3 small children. There's never any more traffic than you would expect somebody else that works from home. And I would have no issues with it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay. Next, sir, please.
Thank you for having me. David Whalen, 16 Mountview Ave. I've known Paul for 30-plus years. He's actually a model citizen. Every one of you would just love to have him for a neighbor. There's nothing that he can't do. There's nothing that he won't do. We have no problems with him in the neighborhood, ever. Nobody's ever complained. In fact, they just admire him. So, once again, no problems with Paul at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Alan Rafferty, Paul Street, in Auburn. I'm representing Miss Fleming, who lives quickly across the street from Mr. Antonian. First of all, before I start, I would just like to say, it seems to me like some of the people who just spoke weren't technically abutters. Abutters, if I remember correctly, are people who live next door or within a certain distance. And you just had a couple people speak who are not technically abutters. They seem to be character witnesses, and perhaps they're customers of Mr. Antonian. The lady who works at 10 Mount View lives right next door to Mr. Antonian. And my understanding, she has an agreement where he snowplows her driveway for free whenever it snows. And so she has a vested interest.
Comments, please.
Yeah, you're out of order. She has a vested interest, sir. Anyway, I took an interest in this case because I attended a meeting at the Board of Selectmen where Ms. Fleming came to the board and complained and made her first complaint. And talking to her, I understand she couldn't make it tonight. So she asked me if I would represent her interest tonight. Anyways. First, before I started, I'd like to, if I can approach and present you with some exhibits, some evidentiary interests.
Distribution, are you okay with that? No, we'll give you, you'll have your time. Go ahead, sir, you can bring those up, sure.
He's not a butter either.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all different.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm reading here is the first part of it is hold on, because if we're gonna have evidence, so to speak, this is not a court, but if we're gonna have documents presented, I want everybody to know what we're talking about. So we have a copy of our zoning bylaws, and we have, what I'm seeing here is transactions from the Auburn Water District with some repairs, some receipts from the Auburn Water District, with the word oil on it. Check the Paul Antonian, $90. 320. 280. Okay. So just so people are aware at home, that's what was presented to us. I'd like to make sure that we have an open and honest meeting. Continue on, sir.
I'm here to represent Ms. Fleming's interests. I'm a representative. I'm here today to recommend that the board not give Mr. Antonian a special permit to conduct this business. Reasons. Number one, he intends to run a business that is not allowed according to the bylaws. Number two, if he is allowed a permit, it would be in violation of state hazardous waste regulations. Number three, any permit granted that you gave him with restrictions, and where he agreed to the restrictions, I don't believe he would adhere to those restrictions based on his previous actions and behavior at that location. And four, the business most likely would have a negative impact on the quality of life of Ms. Fleming and the value of her property. To begin, if you look at the documents that I gave you, and I'm sure the board doesn't have to be reminded of what the bylaws are, but Mr. Antonian is applying for a permit under Zone Bylaw 3.9.1.2. The bylaw has two restrictions that his business cannot or would not abide to. Number one, he would not be allowed to handle hazardous materials. It would be difficult for him to do repairs or tune-ups on small engines without handling used oil, gasoline, and lubricants. And some of the bills that I presented you, and those are just a couple of the bills that I gave you, so that I'm not overwhelming the board. We actually have about 50 of them. The bills do mention that he has changed oil, done lubrication, and of course all the engines contain gasoline. If you know anything about tune-ups, sometimes gasoline spoils, and you have to dump the gasoline and replace it with fresh gasoline. I myself do small engine repairs of my own accord, and that's how it works. Number two, all the repairs would have to be done within a building according to the bylaw. A soundproof building. In the past, Ms. Fleming says he does all his repairs outside, even in cold weather and late at night. Using floodlights.
You gotta let everybody have the opportunity to speak, sir. There's a public hearing. Explain how it works. Just be patient for a minute. You'll have a chance. Indeed, some of the machines he works on are so large, particularly the ones that come from the Auburn Water Department, it couldn't possibly even fit in the outdoor building that he has. Zoning bylaw 3.2.6.12, which has similar restrictions concerning automotive engine repairs, states that in the RA zone, such businesses are not allowed. So he would be conducting a similar business only on small engines rather than a large automotive business. When it comes to repairing machines that use oil, lubricants, and gas, state law clearly states that a person must have a license to do so and maintain a manifest of its disposal. Mr. Antonian has been doing repairs for quite a long time. And it would be interesting if the board would request, if he has such a manifest that he can produce that is required by state law. And he would also require a license from the state to handle and dispose of hazardous waste. If for some reason the board decided to issue Mr. Antonian a permit, we agreed to the restrictions, and you granted him amnesty for conducting an unlicensed business for at least the past 4 years, and probably longer. It's hard to believe that he would adhere to restrictions based on the fact that he's been conducting an illegal business without a license, has generated excessive traffic, noise, and lights, according to Ms. Fleming, and I myself have witnessed it when I have visited her. And it would be it's in blatant disregard of any common sense, decent neighborly behavior. As you can see from what I've given you, Mr. Antonian has done repairs for the Auburn Water District since February of 2019 without a license. According to an online search result, he opened his business in 2005 and reports a yearly income of $170,000.
That's a lot of business. That's a lot of automotive or a lot of small engine repairs. And I like to mention that in his application, he states in his application that he's going to pick up machines, repair them, and then bring them back. But suddenly tonight he's saying, oh no, I tend to do everything repairs off-site. In clear contradiction what he even put in his own application. And Ms. Fleming has reported that she has seen nothing but repairs done on site because of all the noises. And like I said, she has dozens of audio and video recordings indicating that that's exactly what he does. Since Ms. Fleming has complained, the town took a look at what was going on and decided to issue him a cease and desist order. And yet, Ms. Fleming states that he hasn't done so. He is still doing the repairs. He is still making noise. He's still working late at night. Now, to give you an idea what Mrs. Fleming has gone through as a neighbor, I'm just going to read some excerpts from some previous statements she's made at the Board of Selectmen's meetings and in letters to the town administration.
Sir, hold on, we got a time limit first of all, but also, if she's already spoken to all these things at other meetings and it's well documented, then we can just refer back to those. But we don't need to sir, I just need you to be quiet, please. So we don't need to revisit those. I understand that you might be upset, or you might have other things that you want to sort of present. But I kind of need you to give us the Reader's Digest version, if you will. Sure. Again, if she's already made these comments at a selectmen's meeting, that's documented. It's already been, it's actually, anyone can watch it on the YouTube channel. Same as all the other comments that she may have already made publicly.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I can ask the board members, have you seen her testimony?
I have, yes, in fact.
You have.
I have. I watched that meeting live, and I also watched the re-recording of it.
Does anyone else?
And just for the record, to be honest too, so we all understand, this woman actually called me on my cell phone, and I spoke to her for about 15 minutes in regards to her complaints. She asked if it was okay to submit this, and I absolutely said we would welcome any type of conversation whatsoever. But I just think in the interest of full disclosure, it's kind of unusual for me to get called previous to a meeting regarding the butter, but I think it's important for the record. So go ahead, sir, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll give you the Writer's Digest version of some of the testimony, just so that to educate the rest of the board members who haven't heard any of her testimony.
I don't know that, sir, that any of us haven't seen it. I've seen it as well.
You have seen it too? You have seen it too?
I think for the exercise of brevity, we could move on.
Yeah. Oh, if I could just read one part, Mr. Chairman?
I'll entertain you for another minute, and then we're going to move on. So.
She reports excessive and disturbing engine noise and exhaust emissions occurring frequently with the repair of snow blowers, lawn mowers, lawn tractors, leaf blowers, ATVs, gasoline lawn trimmers, and other services such as blade sharpening. So in summation, I would ask that the board deny this request based on the fact that, first of all, he's been conducting an illegal business, and I'm not sure why you would grant him amnesty for conducting an illegal business all these years. The fact that he's been given a cease and desist order and he refuses to stop it, I just think that it would be a disservice to Ms. Fleming and to the rule of law in the town. Thank you.
So just for the record, I'd like to catch everybody else up on a few things too as well. I was notified by the our town inspector Caleb, who is not with us this evening, but he did in fact tell me that this applicant was issued a cease and desist order previous to this meeting. I was also informed that the town made, yes.
Mr. Tatro, I am on the phone.
Oh, hi. I didn't realize you were here, Caleb. I was just reviewing, but the point being is, from what I understand here, is that there was no observation from the town. So, Caleb, I did not realize you were with us, sir. So, would I possibly yield the floor to you? So you could. Do you have any input you'd like to add?
Thank you. I do. So we got a complaint from Ms. Fleming that there was work business activity going on. She sent the evidence of the receipts from the Auburn Water District. I met with Mr. Antonian, explained that he could not do that without a special permit, asked him to stop doing the work until such time that the special permit was applied for and either approved or denied. He agreed to all of that, told me he did stop work. Ms. Fleming made repeated complaints that he was still working. Myself and my inspector went out there multiple times and were never able to confirm anything going on at the property. Never any disturbance to the neighborhood or anything else like that. So he did comply with the cease and desist, and that's why he's before the board tonight.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and go right back to the board members because I'd like to get more input from you before I decide which way we're heading here. So, Mr. Maron, I'm going to yield the floor to you again, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of what we've heard on the abutters, and I think that it's been equally sided, I was actually going to offer Mr. Antonian a moment to see if he wanted to respond to any of the things that have been raised and concerned.
Absolutely. Mr. Antonian, to you, sir.
Before I even say a word, if I even need to, because what he said is totally irrelevant to everything. Even mentioned he has small engines on Fall Street and touches them. Whether it's mine, yours, it's still a small engine, and he's doing the same thing at his own home. But my neighbor right next to me that touches my property just showed up. If she'd like to say something.
Okay, I can put that on the agenda if that's fine. Are you satisfied with your response?
Yeah, I mean, half of his words are irrelevant. Mrs. Fleming sold her home. She's no longer a resident of this town.
All right, did that just happen recently?
Well, it says sold, still pending, so.
No, just let me ask, I just want to understand, because I need to know, and I want everybody else to know for the record, where is this house was Ms. Fleming lives directly to your property? Is it right next door, is it across the street?
Across the street.
Across the street, okay, thank you.
And the neighbor that's here, her property touches mine.
Right.
And it's there's an easement to enter the property.
Okay, so the reason I asked that is because the previous person who was not in favor mentioned that some of the people here supporting you were not direct abutters. So technically, even though she lives across the street, I mean, you could argue what a technical abutter is. So with that being said, are you satisfied with what's you presented there? All right. I want to make sure Mr. Maron's okay.
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Before I move forward with anything else.
I have one final thought, and Caleb had confirmed it, but I would have, just given that it's an open hearing, give Ms. Antoni an opportunity to just respond. Cease and desist order that we've heard, that has been issued. Did you perform any work after that cease and desist order?
The water department has not brought anything to my home.
I'm satisfied, Mr. Chairman, with my question.
Okay, Mr. Cussy, to you, sir?
Yeah, so the water district, they bring their equipment to you.
Well, part of the reason why we all have good, clean drinking water is I'm the one that's done their repairs for years. Yeah. If a saw broke, while they're cutting a pipe in the middle of the night or anything, I've helped over the years. Even though there's many repairs shown, some, if not many of them were done on site. Have many areas which they mow, and one of their mowers, which he did mention on Mrs. Fleming's behalf, is a big mower. So if that one, stops moving, I repair it wherever it stops.
Okay. Are you satisfied, sir?
When you do repairs at the house, there's a lot in the garage, mainly outside.
It's all outdoor power equipment, so nothing's ever indoors. So there's never a reason for a building to be up to code for fire code or anything. I wouldn't be around today doing this for 40 years if I worked on stuff indoors. It's outdoor power equipment. It needs to be outdoors.
So you work on it outdoors.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to
I'd like to hear from the direct neighbor before I comment. If she wants to speak, sorry, I hate to put you on the spot. I assume you came for that.
In respect to the procedure here, I said I would go back to the board members, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that first, and then I'll go ahead back to the other people. So you okay right now?
I'll reserve.
Miss Bush, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'd like to hear from the neighbor.
Okay. I see some other people hanging on here. Do we have any people calling in that want to comment on this hearing? I see some people in positions here.
Yeah, there's Mrs. Briggs.
Go ahead. Who are you, please? Could you introduce yourself?
All right, so I'm Matthew Briggs. This is Roberta Briggs, and we own the property at 36 Arrowhead Ave. So the back of our property abuts Paul Antonian's property directly across from his garage, we've been talking about tonight. And we've we've owned the property since 1971. And, Paul's been a great neighbor through that whole period of time. If there was a noise problem there, it surely would disturb us. I mean, we have our windows open in the summertime, typically at least upstairs, in the nighttime. And the whole concept that there could be a noise problem when that neighborhood is about 100 yards off of the Mass Pike is absolutely absurd. I don't know how she could differentiate noise coming from the Massachusetts Turnpike apart from noise that would be coming from Paul's yard or garage. And regardless, he's been a great neighbor for that whole period of time. When he does work, whether he's working on repairing his own equipment that he uses to maintain his own yard or other pieces of equipment, he starts work at a reasonable time in the day, and he stops at a reasonable time in the evening. And he's been a great neighbor. So I hope you'll approve his waiver.
And he keeps the property very clean and all the time.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. Appreciate you calling in. Anyone else that is callers, please? Because I'm gonna move on to the folks that are here at the town hall next.
Yes, my name is Susie Henry. I live at 38 Arrowhead Avenue.
So, Susan, I'm sorry. That came out kind of quick. I just want to make sure it's Susan Henry.
Yes, and I live at 38 Arrowhead Avenue.
Okay.
So the back of my yard directly abuts Paul's yard.
Okay.
And I would agree, he's been an absolutely wonderful neighbor. I applaud the small business, that he has over there. I don't object to him having the business. I guess the only thing that I ask is that, he just limit the nighttime hours that he's operating the equipment, that's all.
Okay. The board can put, if the board so chooses to see fit to issue the permit and vote to approve, then they can put whatever restrictions they feel appropriate or that is recommended to the permit. So, and also please keep in mind too, if the board chooses, and I'm not saying that whichever direction they are headed, but a special permit does expire with the owner, so to speak. So if Mr. Antonian was to ever leave, stop doing what he was doing, sell the property, that special permit does expire. It does not stay with the property. Okay. Sir, to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to, if I could, defer to the direct abutter. Would you like to speak, ma'am?
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you yielding the floor, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liz Flash, and I live at 6 Mount View Ave, which is right next door to his house. We're adjacent to each other. I've lived there with my family since 1998. Never had reason to call for the noise complaint, light complaint, ever. Paul has been a great neighbor to our family, and especially to me since my husband died a few years ago. He's been exceptionally helpful to me. Whenever I need anything, Paul is always there to help us. Never had to make a complaint for any reason. I hope that you grant him the ability to keep making a living.
Thank you very much. Sir, to you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, Wayne Bellick, 5 Marion Ave. So I heard a couple things tonight from the gentleman that was up after me. And as I indicated earlier, I have represented a number of clients for the past 40 years, boards like you folks. And through the chair, the discussion came up about abutters, and those of us who are not direct abutters, or, for the John Q. public, typically a special permit requires the notification of abutters within 300 feet. I don't know if that's the case here in Auburn as well, but within 300 feet. But this process does not preclude any resident of the community for coming before the board in weighing in. And I think it is that liberty that we're here for tonight. And secondly, through the chair, the gentleman indicated that he was representing the abutter of Mr. Antonian. My question is, and again, this is through the chair, I just like something in the minutes for the record that he stated he was representing Ms. Fleming. My question is he representing her as legal counsel? And if so, is he an active attorney in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
So if I may, when she called and we spoke briefly on the phone, she asked if she could have a representative because she would not be available, and she is, in fact, I believe, out of the country. I'm not going to speak on her behalf at all. I did tell her that she could have a representative present. I do not believe that we have any discussion whatsoever about being an attorney or not. So I think, but I, in the interest of public disclosure, I gave her, to me, the right course of action by saying if she wasn't available, she could have somebody read a statement.
Yep. I appreciate.
That's really all it was.
And I do appreciate the response, Mr. Chairman. I just looked at the context of the questions and the way they were presented. And I just wanted to know, for the record, whether or not the gentleman was a counselor.
Sir, could you just ask, are you a licensed attorney in Massachusetts at all?
I don't have to disclose that, sir.
Okay, I don't know what that law is, and I'm not trying to get into any point beyond what we're talking about here on the, You may. Thank you. I mean, I can't let this interesting conversation go now, right? We have to keep going.
With my second opportunity, I would like to show one of the videos to the board that demonstrates what Ms. Fleming goes through, and to which all the abutters that seem to be supporting Mr. Antonian deny takes place. And this is just one video of dozens that she has. Would the board entertain viewing the video?
I'm not going to, as the chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
To say that we've heard enough, that you have obviously a complaint.
Mr. Chairman, this is important evidence because they've been in response to the denial that any of this is taking place.
Number two, yeah. So, sir, I appreciate that. The evidence has been presented. This is not a court. You have presented the complaint that you have an abutter that does not want it. We have several abutters that do. I have other hearings to hear. And this isn't a courtroom. All we here to find out is that this gentleman abides by the rules and regulations, and that whether the board does or does not want to issue a special permit, a small engine repair at his property. Now, that being said,
Mr. Chairman.
Those are the people in this. You're gonna have to wait until I'm speaking now, whoever you might be. Okay, that's okay. You don't have to wait till I'm done talking. Most of the people in this neighborhood have oil, heat, including myself. I have 250 gallons of home heating oil that my tank has been in the house for 32 years and nobody's inspected it. It could go at any second. Right? That's how long I've been there. I've rebuilt motorcycles, I've rebuilt cars, I rebuilt trucks. I've done all kinds of extensive small engine repair at my house. Fortunately, I still have all my fingers and I haven't blown anything up yet. So I mean, I don't necessarily think the risk of this type of activity is anything different than any other person might be doing on a weekend afternoon, is all I'm saying. I don't know, but that's what I'm being presented as. So with that being said, I'm going to ask if there is a motion. Caleb, can I just ask you if you'd like to add one more thing, sir?
Yeah, I just want to make a statement for the record. So Ms. Fleming's videos have been reviewed by town council.
Okay.
And they were deemed non-conclusive.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, so,
All
all
right,
right,
so
so again, we've elevated this to town council and evidence has been presented. I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward now, and please keep in mind, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public part of the hearing at this point, because we've gone far further than we need to on this. We're gonna go back, and I'm gonna remind the board to discuss the pros and cons of a special permit issuing per our guidelines and our bylaws. Now that we've heard all of the information from the abutters. Would you agree? Great. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Okay, do I have a second? All right, Mr. Maron? Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach? Ms. Roach? Ms. Bush? Ms. Bush? Whoop, we just lost power here.
I just meant to tell you were gonna pull it out.
All right, that's all right, we'll figure that out next.
Get her
Can
back
this
so we can
possibly
have
get
that.
any worse? All right, so we're gonna continue on here.
I think it's safe to say, Mr. Chairman, that we would have Ms. Bush's.
Well, regardless, I'm gonna vote, and even if she voted against it, that would still allow the hearing to be closed.
Fair enough.
So we can move forward with that. So with that being said, I want to go back to the original permit here and remind everyone that the 605 application, Mr. Paul Antonian requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation located at 8 Mount View Ave, map 41, parcel 24. And please, again, understand that we make our decision based on those two bylaws. 3.9.1.2, excuse me, this one bylaw in this particular instance, the previous one had two. And that's really it. So this isn't a courtroom, we're not here to listen to evidence, there's no DNA stuff going on, you know. We're just gonna go ahead and pass it along. So, to you, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could defer to one of the other board members, I'd just like to look up something really quickly.
You most certainly can. Mr. Cussy, to you, sir.
Yeah, my only concerns would be hours of operation. I
Okay.
want reasonable hours. And would Caleb...
The microphone's on?
...of this property, I just, you know, for waste oil and, because it's really...
Mr. Chairman, we don't have any sound.
It should be right here, right? Oh, right there.
Actually, we can hear
So we
you.
can restrict hours of operation if that's necessary, sure.
Yep, and then,
Okay.
you know, Caleb to do an inspection of the site. I mean,
Okay.
he's gonna do that anyway, but
Mhm.
I would just wanna make sure that,
Okay.
it's on the up and up with the waste oils and gases, you know.
Check the microphone at the podium.
Containers, and I'm sure you know.
Yes.
We can hear you on the web.
Those are my only two
All right.
issues.
I'm ready for a motion.
You're ready for a motion?
I'll make one now.
Okay, so as the chair, though, I do like to reserve the right to say that I appreciate everyone's comments, I appreciate everybody's discourse. I actually appreciate every one of you coming, whether you agree with this or not. This is what the public process is supposed to be about. So thank you all for coming. There's no personal issues here, and we're going to move forward with a decision. So do I have a motion on the 6:05 PM applicant Paul Antonian requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation located at 8 Mount View Ave, map 41, parcel 24?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
You may.
Before such a motion is made.
That's okay. We got to get
because
through it, so.
I did reserve, and I appreciate the timing on this, I did reserve, because I wanted to verify something and look it up in the bylaw. But I would just ask before a motion's made that for my fellow board members to just consider that although it appears that Mr. Antonian had been doing some of this work prior to having a permit, I think that our fabric in town is built on small business. And I would ask the other board members to just consider that Mr. Antonian is doing exactly what we would ask people to do, to come forward, to legitimize, to get a permit, to move forward. And I'll reserve any additional comments for open discussion.
Does anybody know what's going
Make a
on?
motion.
Okay.
I don't think the microphones are
Do we have
working.
any other last final comments before I continue with the
We can
motion?
hear each other on the
All
web
right.
here, but.
So do I have a motion
went-
and
I think they took
possibility
the
of
meeting,
any
private.
conditions on this particular permit?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion
That's
to
what I think,
approve
Cap. That's just a guess.
the
Yeah,
application
makes
as
sense,
brought forward.
because they're deliberating,
I
but
would
thank you.
entertain
Yes.
a condition of confirming operation, hours of operation.
Okay.
But beyond that, I'd be comfortable with standard conditions for this home occupation.
Okay. Mr. Cussy?
That's good with me. I just, hours of operation would be the most important thing to me.
Okay. Ms. Roach, do you have any questions, concerns, additives to the special permit?
Nope, I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We have a condition of standard hours. And I'd just like to add that we just want to make sure that you remain neighborly. That's pretty much it. So.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, motion, second, and then approve.
Correct.
Sure.
No.
Yep.
Yep,
No
gotcha.
fault intended.
All right, so we have that. Let's go ahead and move forward on this. Vice Chair Maron, how do you vote, sir?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy, how do you vote, sir? Ms. Roach, how do you vote, ma'am?
I approve.
All right, and I vote to approve. Ms. Bush is not here momentarily, so we can record her vote at a later time. But the motion passes because we all vote to approve, even though Ms. Bush is not online right now.
Just as a comment, maybe perhaps we could advise.
Is somebody speaking out in the hallway again? We need some quiet signs out there or something, some noise machines.
I don't think people realize.
I was only going to mention, and if we could get Caleb back, but perhaps we could just advise the applicant when he comes in to receive the permit, that he could work out the conditional hours with the building inspector.
Right, okay. I mean, it's all on the, this is all on the record, so regardless of this happened right here, that's why we have the multi-purpose system in place.
Agree. I don't feel the need to be prescriptive on setting a certain hour basis right now. I think that could be something that's worked out with the building commissioner as he sees appropriate.
I would agree with that. So we can say that the special permit will have conditions based on whatever the building inspector sees appropriate.
I would, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and what I'm suggesting is that the applicant have an opportunity to propose his reasonable set hours to the building commissioner and ask them to just work that out. But I don't feel the need to be prescriptive on tonight's language.
Okay, great. So I think we're all set then. The application has been granted. You can go see the Department of Inspectional Services at some point in the very near future, and they will set out the guidelines and they will issue you your permit.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Have a
Mr.
great evening.
Chairman.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you to all of you for your service.
Close to 6:05.
Motion to close. Motion to close.
Second.
Thanks for the abutters for showing.
Second for closing the 6:05.
Excuse me, I'll make it second.
Mr. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach? I approve. And I am very sorry, but I think Ms. Bush, you're back now, so do you approve close?
I approve.
We had some technical difficulty here. I kicked the plug out. It's been one of those nights tonight. Okay, so the 6:05 is officially closed. We have a 6:10 application here. I'm going to just give you 1 second. We're going to let these people clear out. So if you want to even stretch your legs for a minute, we'll let it get a little quieter in here, and then we'll try to pick up and move things forward from there. I gotta say, the zoning board of appeals is probably one of the most interesting boards to be on in this community. There's no question about it.
This is definitely the night to watch TV.
Okay, so as soon as Ms. Roach comes back, we will get things moving. It is, honestly, yeah. I mean, we could actually probably have like a reality show, honestly, with some of the stuff that we get. Most of the other boards are kind of boring, so at least this one's fun. Hello. Okay, folks, we're gonna get moving here again. 6:10 PM applicant, AG Signs and Graphics, requesting a special permit under section 7.8 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to erect a non-conforming sign on property located at 54 Faith Ave, map 61, parcel 15. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second? Vice Chair Maron? Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach? I approve. And hang on, this has to go. Peter.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know why this thing is.
You guys stuff online too if you need to look through.
There we are. Okay. And again, back to Ms. Bush. Do you approve to open the hearing?
I approve.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, the hearing is officially open. Sir, I'm going to yield the floor to you. If you want to introduce yourself, go over what your proposal is, and as you saw, hopefully this one won't be as exciting as the last. Go
I
ahead.
might start coming here more often. My name's John Massid. I'm a resident of Shrewsbury, but my family's business is Diamond Auto Group right here in Auburn. We're located, our main address is 768 Washington Street, but over the last 6 to 8 years, we've developed the back, we call it the back of our property, which is 54 Faith Avenue for our service department. Again, over 6 to 8 years, it's been a long process, but we've developed that area to be sort of. We bought the houses, we've moved the road, we've done a lot of work to kind of make it one area that we operate in. We have a few different buildings on the property. And the reason I'm here today is we have no signage on that side. It's a very large piece of property. We have no signage on that side of our property. I'm sure you've been through this area, but it's the junction 395 in the Mass Pike right there, and one of the steps in the project was to with the state come up with a solution to clear out those trees that ran all along our property that blocked the view of our business. And last year those trees have been cleared out. There's a large embankment. I want to say it's about 20 feet tall. That's sloped up. There's about another 40 feet of state property, and then our property begins. So we wanted to be able to put up a sign because we have no signage facing Southbridge Street. People coming down Faith Avenue seem to get lost a lot because there's no signage showing that that's where we operate our business. The problem is the specs of the sign that are allowed within the bylaws of the town. Because the hill is so high and it's so set back, no one can really.
Go ahead.
No one can really see the sign. It's like a peanut. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hold off 1 second.
I can help. Go ahead.
Somebody speaking in the room. Or outside there, on a phone somewhere, and it's just completely getting drowned out in here because of that.
Oh, okay. I
just don't want to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to ask people to not be on their phones and. Oh, the mic's open. It's here. We're good.
If you want. Is that better? No, you're fine. Can you hear me now?
That's okay. Quite all right. I just want to make sure that we get things.
Am I good? Keep going.
Okay, we're good.
All right.
Can we go? I gotcha.
I'm in no
Oh,
rush.
that's okay. That's fine. All right, so,
I can start over, or I keep going, or I'll wait.
we have enough documentation here for a signed application that, as the chair, I'm confident that we can keep moving with this hearing.
Okay.
So please feel free to go ahead.
Okay.
I'll make an
I'm
executive
almost done
decision
anyways.
And risk my position.
So basically, we are asking to install a bit of a larger sign on our property so that we do have signage on that side of our business. As you come up Route 20, again, the main entrance, I will call it, of our business, we do have some signage. On the other side, which is quite far away, on that junction from Southbridge Street and coming down Faith Avenue, you can't see that. You don't know where you are. You don't, and from the road, which you can see very far because there's nothing really blocking it, there is, you can barely even see our building. And the one last thing I'd like to add too is throughout the development of our property.
Something's off. I can't hear anything.
Go ahead.
Throughout the development of our property, there is no residential. There was at one time. There is no more residential, and there is no more commercial property that could see this sign. The only people that would really see it is people in the car on that junction, Southbridge Street, or really coming down Faith Avenue to visit us at the dealership.
Okay.
I also have a representative here from AG Signs who is they would be responsible for installing and
Great.
all that.
All right, so can we hear from the sign company representative?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
Generally speaking, it's usually more of a technical questions that the board has.
Totally, I just wanted to give the
That the sign company
groundwork
can
of
answer
it, but-
better than the applicant, truthfully. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and let them ask you the questions about the particular sign and why it needs to be a little bit bigger. So Vice Chair Maron, to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we're talking about 40 square feet of relief.
Yes,
Based on 120 to 160, right?
correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, I've got a couple of follow-up questions, but I'd like to reserve to see if there are any butters
Okay.
to speak of this. I'll say for the record that I think what this business has done in the back side of their lot has been beautiful, to develop that area that had previously not been used with the road, and there's been a great deal of betterment back there, I think directly related to this business in town, and I, for one, we greatly appreciate that investment. But that is a sizable relief being asked for. So if you could, I did catch it, but if you could just describe like why the need for a larger sign in that, just the topology of what I'm looking at when I'm driving back there and why you need something more visible.
It's basically because the building, the property, and like you said, the incline from the highway and the visible area that you would have to that sign is higher and set far back. So for him to purchase a sign to follow the bylaws wouldn't really be that effective. So maybe it wouldn't be worth doing that, but he needs a sign to, that's visible. People come down Faith Ave, and I've been in this town for about 12 years, and I drive by every morning. And you're right, it's clean, it's better, it looks great, but you don't even know what the business is. I've been down Faith Ave, and people get confused. They don't know where they're going, where to pull in, constantly asking questions of where to go. So for them to get the most impact out of a sign, which they're requesting, it would have to be a slightly relief from the 120 square feet.
This is freestanding, not on an existing building, right?
Correct.
Okay.
On their property.
Okay, so walk me through, I'm going down Faith Ave. When am I going to see it?
Faith Ave is what?
Yeah, you can, please, go ahead.
I'm more of an expert on the sign, like the footings.
Yeah, no,
and, you know what I
understood.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've got it. She looks nice.
Yeah.
Right as you pass the church, right as you kind of come, that road slopes down, and right as you kind of get under the limbs that are over the trees that are stayed, that's when you would see it. It's far away at that point, but you would see it because it's wide open.
Okay.
So basically, when you come down Faith Avenue, the road does turn, but ideally you could keep going straight right into our property, and that's where it would be.
You sound like a roadologist. That's exactly the view that I was, that's exactly the view I was looking for, of when I was going to come up on it. Because
Right,
coming
'cause if
back there, you're right. Unless you know where you're going, you don't know what's back there. You see a lot, and until you're right on them, you don't know that they're there.
Right. And you get the visibility on Southbridge Street as you're approaching Faith Ave. You can see that sign as you're driving west. You'll be able to see that sign that would trigger you to turn up.
And last question, so that sign freestanding, you're intending it to be on the left, right-hand side, correct?
Correct.
Okay, as you're approaching them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll reserve for any abutter comments, but
Okay.
I'm good.
Do we have any abutters here that want to speak on this sign? Just real quick, because if we don't, I can continue to move on with the members. Hearing none, seeing none.
Okay.
Do we have anybody that called in concern about the position or size of the sign? Hearing none, seeing none. Mr. Cussy, to you, sir.
I agree, the size of the sign suits the property nicely. I have no issues with the
Thank
size
you.
of the sign.
Okay. Ms. Roach? I know you have your specialty and concerns with signs sometimes, so.
Yeah, I guess the fact that there's no more residential there certainly helps. I usually am a little tough on signs, but I do think that helps. Is it going to be lit? In
Yes,
what
it'll
hours?
be internally lit. No moving parts, no
No
flashing
message board.
lights.
That was my next
LEDs
question.
through translucent faces, so it would
Okay.
just be a static image. And we would follow, as far as the illumination timeframe, we would follow the law, follow the bylaws.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I do think, just like you said, you don't really know I've lived in this town 40 years, same thing, you don't really know where you're going. I think if it's gonna help direct people there the right way the first time without them driving around, turning around, going in this, but I think that certainly is helpful, so. And no abutters, so I'm
Okay.
good.
Ms. Bush?
I think my questions have been answered. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I? I'm sorry, if you
No,
have
you may.
questions.
Go right ahead.
I'm interrupting you, because I just with, thank you, Mr. Cussy, because I wasn't focusing on this particular picture, and I think it well describes how it does fit and conform in the space and size. But my question is, the placement of this, is your intention that traffic on Faith Ave, or is your intention to capture viewage on 290 as well?
You gotta speak through the microphone, please, sir.
And I'm not leaning on that as a positive or negative. I'm just curious if you're
More for Faith Avenue. We have so many customers that come down, that road bends up, they almost get to Route 20, they realize they can't go left, they pull into our other building, and they're like, where is your service department? And you redirect them down. So that's really the main reason is Faith Avenue.
All right, and the reason why, thank you for the response. I mean, the reason why I'm asking is because clearly the size of that sign is going to catch visibility from 290 as well.
Sounds like a 2-for-1 for me.
I don't disagree.
I mean, we don't allow billboards in town, so.
That's
you know,
why-
I mean,
That's why-
if the board sees it to be appropriate to allow that sign, then if they happen to get the benefit of 290, then
Yeah, that's a good business decision.
can't close my eyes when I drive by, right?
Not interfering with any people.
That's that's what your concern is, and if the board's satisfied with that, then okay.
I agree,
All
Mr.
right,
Chairman.
so I believe we're all set. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public portion of the
Mr. Chairman, I'll
hearing?
make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Mr. Maron, how do
I
you
approve.
vote? Thank you. Mr. Cussy?
I approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. The public portion of the hearing is closed. Mr. Maron, do you have any questions, concerns, or a motion?
I do not. I do have a motion, Mr. Chairman, unless any of the other board members want to open for discussion.
No, I mean, no about it is not non-residential.
Okay. Ms. Bush, do you have any questions or concerns?
I don't.
Thank you so much, and I don't as well. So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
All right, do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, so as our roll call vote goes, Mr. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Thank you. For the record, Ms. Bush approved, in case you couldn't hear that, and I vote to approve. You're all set, so you can contact the Department of Inspectional Services some point over the next few days, and they can let you know what the rest of the process is in terms of getting the permits issued. So good luck. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Okay.
Good evening.
Do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Thank you. Ms. Roach?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. That hearing is now closed. Okay, we're on the 6:15 now. Would anybody like to leave before we start the next hearing? I just want to make sure that we have any commotion in the hallway
Not including board members,
covered.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, not including board members. You all have to stay just like I do. Okay, 6:15 applicant, SEM, I hope I'm saying this, Chem CEMS LLC requesting a special permit under section 4.3.5.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to render greater than 15% of a lot impervious in an Aquifer 2 zone on property located at 602 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass. Map 56, parcel 148. Is the applicant present?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if
sir.
my memory serves, I believe this was the applicant this evening that was requesting that we open and continue.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, okay, so I believe this is Mr. Reskinoff, is that correct?
Rosnikoff, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but are you,
No
so we
problem.
open the hearing, are you requesting a continuance, sir?
Yes, sir. The stormwater calculations aren't quite finished, and we need to submit those for the town, both for planning board and to you. So we would like to open the hearing and hopefully continue it and finish it in March.
Excellent, okay. So I think with that being said, do I have a motion to continue the hearing is open?
Did we open the hearing, Mr. Chairman? But I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Okay, so we have a motion to open. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you very much. Mr. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
I vote to approve. Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Okay, so we have a motion to open the hearing. The hearing is now open. The applicant has requested a continuance until next month for discovery of more information before it is presented.
So, Mr. Chairman, with that applicant's request, I would make a motion to continue and respect his continuance.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. So you are all set, sir. The hearing will remain open. If anybody would like to comment on it, if there's any abutters or any other issues, it is open at the town hall for people to submit information to, and then it will be continued for the March hearing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Have a great evening, sir. So again, because we move forward with the next hearing, that remains open, so I'm just going to continue on. So our 6:20 PM applicant, Webster 5, requesting a special permit under section 4.3.5.1 of the Auburn Zone Law bylaw to render greater than 15% of a lot impervious in an Aquifer 2 zone on property located at 400 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass., map 32, parcel 5. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Yep. Okay. So you have a motion to open the hearing in a second. Do I have a motion to open, how do you vote?
I approve.
How do you vote?
Approve.
Okay, you vote. Ms. Bush, how do you vote?
I approve.
And I vote to open. The hearing is now open. I've been informed that the wonderful board member to my left, Ms. Roach, would have to recuse herself from this hearing. So I'm going to accept your recusal. And thank you very much for attending. And since this is the last hearing, you're the lucky one that gets to go home early. Okay, so with that being said, Ms. Bush, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
Okay, so you're going to be moving forward to the voting member for this particular hearing for administrative purposes. And also, I believe we have to have a supermajority on this one, so I
I
have to
would agree,
inform
Mr.
that too.
Chairman. We will need a supermajority to approve.
Correct. So just so you understand, all four have to vote. You know how that works, sir. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and move on over to the 6:20 presentation, sir. If you could entertain us with your knowledge of what's going on here, and then we'll try to turn it over and get things moving.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney Todd Broder here from Fletcher Tilton on behalf of the applicant, Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank. So this is a proposal that's in front of you for 400 Southbridge Street. This is their existing bank branch, which is, across from the Auburn Mall, been there for many, many years in its current configuration. The reason we're in front of you tonight is the bank is proposing to demolish and completely reconstruct the existing bank branch facility that is there, modernize, and do some other things that, that are kind of needed today that branches didn't need years ago. They're all changing these days. If you've been into branches recently, some of us haven't. So the reason we're here is the special permit in the Aquifer 2 Protection Overlay District for rendering more than 15% of the lot as impervious. What exists out there today is somewhere around 42% impervious. We're going to have a small reduction down to about 41% impervious, generally the same area, still in excess of the 15%. But in this case, it'll all be modernized, meet all the new stormwater regulations and policies that are out there and best practices. So it will contain a drive-through as it does today, and it will continue to function as a bank branch. As you know, the bank made a major commitment to the Millbury Street location a few years ago and did quite an extensive rehabilitation and reconfiguration of that space. It's actually a pretty nice looking project, if I have to say. So this is another investment by the bank. Patrick McCarty's here from McCarty Engineering. He could speak to the design of the site, and if you like, it is a special permit for rendering more than 15% impervious. There's not a lot to talk about in terms of the building design. I think that impacts that particular issue, but certainly glad to give you details if you like them, or if you'd like to move to discussion, we're happy to answer questions as they may come up.
I'm going to entertain this to Mr. Maron, because usually this is something that we turn over to the board. So would you like to vet the process, or do you want to hear more of a presentation?
I'm fine with vetting the process, Mr. Chairman. I think you're right. I think this applicant lands squarely on the impervious topic, and not necessarily design.
Right, and because it would have to, even if we approve it tonight, it has to go to site plan approval. It has to be vetted from the Conservation Commission, as you know all as well.
Yes.
So what we're gonna be looking about is whether or not that can sustain that additional 15%. Okay, so if you'd like to go ahead, sir, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just put simply, what I appreciate, and you've described it eloquently in your brief, is that there's a lot of impervious now. So they pull the entire site up, and they're actually going to land on about a 1% reduction from where they're sitting now. But in simple terms, is there a way to do this project and meet the 15%?
I'll have to defer to Patrick, but I suspect no.
Good evening. For the record, Patrick McCarty, McCarty Engineering. The simple answer is no. What we've done is the existing building is 2 stories, about 5,500 square feet per floor, and it's kind of built into the hill. So you have the upper parking lot and the lower parking lot. We're proposing to demolish that, build a retaining wall, so now the building and drive-through and parking is all at one level. We have to provide the minimum parking for zoning compliance, parking for staff. That one of those spaces has to be a handicap space. Then you have sidewalks that lead you from the parking to the building, and then the footprint of the building itself. We are going from a 5,500 square foot footprint to a 2,400 and change footprint, but just keeping the access drives and circulation to the drive-throughs, escape lane from the drive-through, room for a fire apparatus and a dumpster truck to make its way around the building. The I guess not very short answer is no, you couldn't possibly do this and get down to 15%. We've done everything we could to at least show a decrease from what's existing, coupled with landscaping and drainage improvements.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to reserve.
Mr. Cussy?
I feel it's an improvement. You're going to upgrade the stormwater, all the drainage. I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, it's fine.
Okay. Ms. Bush?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Do we have any abutters or concerned citizens that would like to speak on this particular hearing present this evening? Okay. So, gentlemen, if you don't mind stepping aside for a moment, I'm going to let the abutters speak, and then we're going to take their feedback. Go ahead, ma'am. You have to approach the microphone. You have to introduce yourself. Give us your name and address. You get your 15 minutes of fame when you come here to the zoning board meeting.
My name is Nancy Mangola. I'm 9 Kennan Terrace. I'm the neighbor of Webster 5 Bank. And the issue with the aquifer is not really my concern. I wanted to come and see what it looked like, because I was been very concerned about what the design would do to my property, because there's some trees. We have a little plume of trees there, and I'm concerned about if those trees were to go away. That's my sound barrier, my emissions barrier, my light barrier.
Totally understand.
So I'm really trying to see, I'm pretty lit up as it is, and I'm trying
Sure.
to see if I can do that. I'd even be willing to, hoping that they'll be willing to keep those trees, I'd be willing to even plant some more if they'd let me on their property, just so that I can have the buffer.
Okay.
So that was my question.
When
I just wanted to come today. I wish them well with what they're trying to do. I think that was mine and my neighbor's concern, just so I wanted to come see. Yeah.
So, no, I appreciate that. And when I can tell you that one of the things the board does here is we try to balance the integrity of the neighborhoods with the needs of the business community to help all of us.
Yeah.
So I can absolutely appreciate the fact that you have those concerns, and personally, I will be addressing those, just so you know, if anybody else doesn't have that concern, I will take care of those on the permit for you.
Yeah. I want to be a good neighbor, and I wish them well with it. I just wanted to find out as much as I could about the
Absolutely.
You could ask the question, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
Mr.
you
Chairman,
wanna-
if we could just, not to interrupt, but
Nope.
she may have further comments, or you, but given that we're all here, can we ask the applicant, are we keeping her trees?
All right, so.
They're
if you
really
wanna just
not
go-
mine. They're theirs.
That's okay. So if you want to just go
They're
ahead.
theirs.
We'll give them a chance to speak on it. If anybody else wants to come up, I'm sorry.
Microphone.
While this is taking place and they want to see what's going on, please feel free.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is her property here.
Okay,
And so this dark green, and so this kind of dark line here represents the existing tree line, and the dark green is all the existing trees to remain. So we're not going into those. Awesome.
So much. Awesome.
There's about maybe 6 or 8 feet of clearing right here because we need to be able to dig back to actually install the retaining wall. Because even though the wall shows as a line there, you have to dig back to put the geogrid to
yeah,
support
sure,
the structure.
that's understood, yep.
But that's all existing to remain. Yep, existing to remain. These are all new trees, and we're doing all new parking lot lighting as well. That's all shielded with downlight so that it directs the light where we need it, not to the bright sky.
So great, yes. And there'll be no extra drive-up lines like now, because Mason can tell you, we set a drive-up line at Dunkin' Donuts to Pullman. So there'll be no extra drive-up lines going out than what you already have.
So that was part of the reconfiguring, was we now have 3 drive-up lanes, one with a drive-up ATM and 2 with the teller tubes. So that way we have room on our site to queue, and then if that gets backed up, there's an escape lane around, so that we're not adding anything to House Street that.
What's that? What is this?
That's the drive under canopy where you'd have the vacuum tubes to get your.
Drive up in the back.
Yes. And plenty of room for cars to queue in our parking lot, not adding to the problem on House Street.
Yeah, people at the bank must have seen the same thing.
We're well aware of it.
Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts, and it's like, heaven forbid you need a fire truck, and they're not getting through.
Yep.
Thank you.
No, our pleasure. Anytime.
Anyone else? Hearing none, seeing none?
Just to clear something up through the chair, just so everyone's aware, we sent out to Graves Engineering this application package for peer review, both for the planning board and, the zoning board of appeals. So I would, I guess, recommend continuing until we have that report and then, moving forward at that time.
Okay, thank you very much for that input. I appreciate that from the town side. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, just to address that particular issue, I mean, I also would add, we have to go to Conservation Commission as Dartbrook is across the Southbridge Street there, so we're under their jurisdiction for their review as well. It would be great if we could, get Graves' review back and deal with that, but I would, I guess respectfully ask that we deal with it at Planning Board when we get to that next stage and/or Conservation Commission. We have a number of hurdles to get through with all these types of projects, and it does kind of muck up the works when we continue on and wait, and when I think there'll be plenty of time for feedback with Conservation and Planning Board.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
If I could add my 2 cents to that, we did actually have Conservation last evening.
Okay.
And if we had our DEP file number, which the state's been slow because they're short-staffed, they haven't issued them as quickly in the past, Conservation would have closed last night. They actually told us, don't bother coming next month. If you have your DEP number, just zoom in so we can close the hearing and vote. So Conservation's good with it. And, we've worked with Graves on all the past projects we've done in Auburn, and we'll flush out anything with them. But really, relative to the special permit, the lot coverage isn't going to change one way or another based on a peer review.
Okay.
We're going to be requesting the special permit no matter what.
Okay. Before I make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing, do I have any more comments from you gentlemen?
Not while the public hearing is open, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Right, so the planning board will review the Graves Engineering plans.
So I just want to, before we get into that part of it, I just want to make sure you have any questions for them first, then we'll get into that discussion. And I just want to, I know that Ms. Bush is hanging on here, and I hope she's hanging on for dear life with us.
Maybe Todd could answer that question?
Yeah, could you?
Yes, yeah, the planning board,
reviews all this.
they do, and I don't know if you've watched a planning board meeting recently, but their reviews, both by Graves and the board members, are very thorough on a lot of the technical issues, so nothing's going to be missed.
As boring as this sound, I actually did watch the last couple meetings. I know that sounds crazy, but I'd like to know what the other boards are doing in town, so we're all somewhat consistent. And I would agree with you that they are very thorough. So yes, that is correct, sir. Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public portion of the
Make a
hearing?
motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a
Mr. Chairman.
second? Second. Thank you very much. Vice Chair Maron, how do you vote?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. I vote to close. Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Okay. So with that being said, questions, concerns, comments for each other to discuss?
No, Mr. Chairman, I've got a couple of comments, but perhaps before I get to them, we can take on the peer review piece.
Okay, sure, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm well satisfied with the process in town and the planning board. I would agree, being a bit of a steward of other board meetings because it's great TV. They are extremely thorough, and I have every confidence that these gentlemen will be put through the appropriate paces to check all those boxes. And so I really don't have any intent or on our board to kind of slowing that process.
Okay. Mr. Custody, to you, sir.
I agree with Mike. I'm good.
Okay.
Planning board's thorough. We're good.
Ms. Bush?
I agree with the other board members.
Okay. So, I mean, my only comment is, you know, I know that in the past, when they did the Millbury Street beautification, so to speak, of the old medical building,
Yep.
that they actually shrunk quite a bit of the parking lot and returned it to green space.
Right.
So I think, and I know the projects aren't related, I know they're separate, but I think of the responsible building ownership, if you will, from the prior plan, where they literally took that entire parking lot out and returned it to green space, right? And that's in the front of the building that used to be to the side. They shrunk down those parking spaces dramatically behind the building. I just think that, to me, is managing responsible green space. So with that being said, I look at it as that if they could have made more here, they probably would have. Also, it's, the building that's there currently is not particularly pretty.
Right.
So a nice replacement might be a good shot in the on the Southwood Street too, right?
It's an improvement, no doubt.
So it absolutely is improvement. And again, I think, Mr. Custody, to reiterate what you stated, you know, we have 40, 50-year-old water management under that building. Any upgrade to our aquifer protection is an upgrade.
Absolutely.
Right, especially on Southwood Street. There's plenty of chemicals, plenty of drain water,
Yep.
plenty of other things that, you know, probably are not really faring well now, just in general down there. So that's a good opportunity for the town to protection. So with that being said, do I have a motion on the application?
Just a couple of final comments before we make a motion. And I'm-
Please.
And I'm happy to make a motion, Mr. Chairman. You refer to their first expansion when they moved headquarters over to, you refer to it as Millbury Street. So I affectionately refer to it as Bancroft Street.
Yes,
Because that's my neighborhood.
Yes.
This particular applicant, and this is personal, but my personal view is that for such a large organization, they have proven themselves to be not only a good steward of land, but a really good neighbor.
Absolutely.
You know, for betterment. I mean, the choices of the project that they're applying for this evening to flip that location, I'll just bluntly say it, that's a dog of a property. And for them to make an investment in betterment in there rather than just flip it and move on, I think it shows not only a commitment to their business, but a commitment to the town.
I agree.
For that kind of betterment. And so I'll leave it there. But I think that they have, for such a large organization, they've certainly walked the walk on being a good neighbor. And the investment that they've made in our town has been remarkable. So with that, if there are no other comments, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so Vice Chair Maron has made a motion. How do you vote, sir?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Okay, and I also vote to approve, but I would just like to remind and caution everyone that the abutters are very concerned about the light management, noise management, and the green space between. So I would just like to respectfully say that please maintain those things so we can have quiet neighbors. So with that being said, it's approved. I approve, just in case I didn't say it for the record. And you can reach out to the Department of Industrial Inspectional Services, excuse me, I'm getting tired, and they can move forward from there with you. Thank you very much. So a motion to close that hearing.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Good evening.
Vice Chair Maron? You vote to close?
I approve.
You vote to close? I vote to close. Ms. Bush, do you vote to close?
I vote to close.
Whew, okay, we're getting there. Hang on. I'm tired of hearing myself talk at this point. Jeez. All right, so we're just going to let these folks clear out. It'll get a little noisy for a minute, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about our minutes, and then we're going to close. Never a dull moment, I'll tell you. Okay. We're still going to let them get out of the noise zone. The last thing we really have is the minutes of the meeting from January 18th, 2024. So the people that should be voting on this is myself, Mr. Maron, Mr. Cussy, Ms. Bush, and Ms. Roach. But I believe since Ms. Roach has vacated the rest of the meeting, that we can have a supermajority and approve these probably, right?
I agree, Mr. Chairman.
So do I have a motion to accept the minutes as, for 1/18/24 as submitted?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, to accept the minutes as stated, as written.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Mr. Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. The minutes are now submitted to the record. So we have no other continuing new business. So our next meeting is March 21st, 2024. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Cussy? Second. Are you sure? Yes. You really want to?
I do.
All right. Can you vote?
I approve.
I approve.
All right, Ms. Bush?
I approve.
All right, and I approve to close too. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Good evening.
This conference is no
Thank
longer
you.
being
Really,
recorded.
really good job.